good, the bad, and the odd. Well, if they must.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd. We hosts Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Right, so today we are talking about the Justice League, the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League. So we're bang up to date. We're not usually that up to date, but we are with this one.
Yeah.
And in fact, the next one we got planned too, but we'll leave that as a surprise. So this one came out very recently, only on streaming. I think HBO Max was its premiere, but it appeared on Sky.
In the UK, that's how
in
we
the
watched
UK,
it.
that's how we watched it. So this one premiere, let me have a look. It was like March, wasn't it? Sometime. Well, never mind. It was late-ish March. It premiered, and we got to see it pretty soon after that. We watched it about a week ago now, isn't it, or something like that? We just haven't got around to recording. So this is Justice League. Let's get a little backstory. Basically, Warner Brothers weren't too happy with apparently the darkness that was within, sort of built into Batman versus Superman, and they kind of bottled it and wanted it all lighter in tone. And Zack Snyder had already done this quite extensive long cut of Justice League, and they bottled it and hired.
Zack Snyder couldn't. Well, he wasn't able to continue it because of the passing of his daughter.
Well, I read into it, and apparently that decision was made before his daughter passed, and he was already working with Whedon to sort of drastically reduce the cut down to less than 2 hours. That was the brief they were given, and it was with the passing of his daughter. He did stay on for a few months after the passing of his daughter, mainly to distract himself, because obviously grief is a terrible thing, because it was a suicide, and unexpected, obviously, but he was working with Whedon at the time when the suicide happened, and he did stay for a few months after, and then the reason they gave was because of that, right? But essentially the Warner Brothers executives had bottled it, and they wanted a sub 2 hour film. And apparently the early delivery date was also meant they all got their bonuses or something. That was part of their thinking, right? So essentially we saw the Justice League movie in a fairly light way. Joss Whedon had, did his thing where he adds dialogue, which is kind of comedic, like he does with Buffy and Firefly and stuff like that.
And it didn't fit. So
didn't quite fit. Unfortunately, what did you think of the first version then?
The original version wasn't great. Like, there was two good scenes, which was a flashback to Steppenwolf's original invasion of Earth, which was reworked originally was done with Darkseid in this version, and there was a whole bit where Superman basically catches up to Flash mid-fight. And that was it of the stuff that I loved. It was kind of, I'd say kind of. It was really didn't make sense most of the time.
Yeah, and the entire Cyborg thing was kind of terrible.
Yeah,
he was basically
everyone
a tiny
came across like an asshole. So
yes,
Cyborg was just a moody asshole. Aquaman was an asshole. Flash would not shut up about brunch and how much he ate. So and Batman was okay. Batman came out okay, and Superman not as bad as he had fared in the earlier films. Though I will say, I prefer the bright coloured suit that was in the original cut of Justice League, the bright Superman suit, as opposed to the darker coloured versions in Man of Steel and BVS, and the black version that's in this.
Yes. Okay. So I thought it was okay. I think I gave it like 6.5, 7 out of 10. It was reasonably entertaining. It was okay. That's kind of how I felt about it. But I've not been a fan of a lot of these films. I mean, Wonder Woman's been the only real standout for me, really, unless you include Shazam, I guess. I'm not sure.
Shazam's really good. Aquaman is pretty fun. But...
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. But Wonder Woman was the real standout. We haven't seen Wonder Woman 84, so we don't know about that. So we get the various heroes, and we get a Zack Snyder Justice League. Now, like I say, it was a different production, but they handed him back the ability to do its own cut, and apparently there was very little extra footage filmed for this cut. It was already there. The only bit really, and we're going to spoil this movie, by the way.
Yeah,
the only bit that was really added was some final scenes with the Joker of all people.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. This is a long cut, 4 hours. We watched it over 3 sittings, I think, didn't we, in the end?
Yeah,
and it kind of worked fine. It has got a televisual feel in its pace, in that, we see a lot more characterization. Cyborg, for example, his story vastly improves in this cut, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Vastly.
It makes sense. He's not just... I can sympathize with the position, him being angry at his dad for doing what he did. But
yeah,
in this, it builds a lot more on past abandonment, general feelings of inadequacy, that sort of thing.
Yeah, interestingly, I found that Cyborg and Batman were the 2 characters who got the most screen time. Wonder Woman was kind of not much, but she's got her own movies, right?
Yeah.
And Aquaman not so much, but he's got his own movie. The Flash, not so much, but he's got his own movie coming. So it felt like it was deliberately balanced in the way I'd expect. The only thing we're missing really is the intended Affleck Batman that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But Batman gets a lot of this.
Happen apparently. So.
Yeah, and I do greatly like Affleck's Batman in this, but I always liked it. I like it in Batman vs. It's the best thing about Batman vs Superman by far.
Yeah.
Now, and it's interesting. I remember when we watched this, I was kind of perplexed. I said, well, this is a really good film. Why were the other Zack Snyder films not great? And I was speculating whether Warner Brothers were fiddling with those. I don't know.
I'm going to go with probably. Apparently,
Snyder did plan it to be darkest in Batman vs Superman, and then get lighter in tone as there was a planned trilogy of Justice League's films. That's what the intention was. Though I suspect what happened was Snyder's just made a sort of there's like an epilogue sequence, quite long, I'd say 20 minutes, which I think is wrapping up some of the elements or suggesting some of the elements he was intended to move towards, which would have been the actual Injustice storyline, I think, from DC. But we only see a hint of that, really. There's some sequences we did see pretty much wholesale in the first. There's the whole Steppenwolf first appearing and taking the box from the Amazons. A lot
of the footage is the same. They did use a lot of the same footage. It's just they left a lot of the non-action scenes. They just didn't put that in the original cut. So
Now, and mostly the film stood up really well. Some of the CG was a little ropey with the parademons attack, especially that first Amazon sequence, but otherwise it was kind of solid. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this film. I really liked it. 4 hours.
It's a fun film.
It was a lot of slow mo, but it works. This is 300 Snyder or Watchmen Snyder, in fact, not. The Snyder we've come to think, it's just
it's
shallow.
Not Sucker Punch.
Yeah. No, it's not Sucker Punch. Now, again, Sucker Punch had a couple of really good sequences, but the overall tone of the film and the message was awful, and it didn't really work at all. But, Zack Snyder produced some great films over the, he's done that Dawn of the Dead remake was pretty damn solid. It's not as good as the original, but it's a different beast and works entirely as a different kind of film and a really good film. 300, I think, is a great film. Watchmen's a masterpiece, pretty much. Yeah. And we're getting that kind of level, I think, with this movie. If you don't mind slow-mo, that's fine. I have heard jokes that if you removed all the slow-mo, it'd only be 9 minutes long, but that's not true. That isn't true. So actually, it's a shame we didn't get this cut first. I don't think you could have had a 4-hour cut in the cinema, though, maybe.
No, but honestly, if you told me it was a 4-hour cut at the time, I'd have been way more interested than a 2-odd-hour film.
Yes.
4 hours, that's auteur sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's okay, you're gonna get something wild. It's not a good example, but Peter Jackson's King Kong, that's 3 hours. Doesn't need to be 3 hours, but it fits. And I quite enjoy it, all of it, even the ice skating stupid stuff.
Yeah, the
hey.
ice skating. Okay, I don't enjoy the ice skating, but I don't mind the rest of it, apart from some of the chunky, weightless CGI dinosaur runs and things like that. They did look great. But when Kong was fighting big dinosaurs, it was great. It was fantastic.
Back to Justice League.
Back to Justice League. So this is Steppenwolf trying to find these magic boxes, which if he puts together destroys the planet. Yeah. And we also find behind it is Darkseid in Apocalypse looking for, what was it? Some equation. What was it called?
The anti-life equation.
Anti-life equation. And we find out that this anti-life equation is actually based on Earth. So Earth becomes...
it's carved into the surface of Earth.
So it's obviously of interest to Darkseid, even though this doesn't succeed, as it were. So we get one of the weaknesses maybe that Darkseid was obviously a CGI guy. He wasn't a bad one, but he wasn't Thanos. Do you know what I mean?
You're not really... Darkseid is much more imposing than Thanos, like physically. Like there's a confidence to all of Darkseid's movements that kind of Thanos.
I don't mind Darkseid compared to Thanos. What I'm saying is, sorry, I meant Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf.
Oh yeah, Steppenwolf.
Sorry, I meant Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf's
but that's
just
the
CGI
thing. A lot of Darkseid's like people are toadies. They're powerful. They can hang with Superman, sort of thing. But they are toadies.
I like the couple that were hanging around him. It was Granny
Goodness and Desard, yeah.
Desard was interesting.
In like it basically being Steppenwolf's manager. He's just constantly for God's sake, why are you taking so long getting all these boxes, sort of thing. Just every single time.
Yeah, so it does. So we find out that Darkseid and the Parademons and Steppenwolf tried to get the mother boxes in a previous era where like the Amazons and the Atlanteans and even a Green Lantern was fighting against him. And some of the old gods, they talked about Mars, didn't they? And stuff
they talked about, Ares, Zeus, and I think Artemis make an appearance.
Oh, Ares. I thought it was Mars. Ares.
No, because it's it's Ares from the Wonder Woman film. So...
Okay, so what happens is there's 3 boxes. The Amazons take one, the Atlanteans take one, and the humans take one, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of where it's at. And they're all hidden on Earth somewhere. So it gets a bit like Harry Potter and his, what are they called? Horcruxes. It's a bit of that. So it's... And also we do find out that Darkseid is Steppenwolf is particularly motivated because he's fallen from grace from Darkseid, so he wants to regain favour.
He needs to win Darkseid 50,000 planets before he can come back to Apocalypse. He's kind of pitiable because, like, he just wants to go home. His goal is not serve Darkseid; it's just I want to get home.
He's
Darkseid's uncle, so.
Okay, it's kind of a fallen angel parable, really. But I do find Darkseid, when he finds out the anti-life equation is there, if Steppenwolf can take the planet, then all is forgiven, is the kind of the implication, right? Now, Bruce Wayne has got this feeling that something's coming, and Diana... Wonder Woman confirms this, doesn't it? They're already here. She knows because she was shot an arrow from Themyscira to sort of tell us something's going on. So they start looking between them. Now, this is much more done organically in this film than it was kind of rushed in the Whedon one, wasn't it?
It was like, literally we saw him get the mother box on Themyscira. And then it basically cut to Wonder Woman telling Batman that they're here. So they start forming. They find he finds Arthur Curry, doesn't he? Who kind of acts like a bit of a dick, but kind of does turn up when he needs to. He also goes and finds Barry Allen. He just turns up, and Barry Allen's got to say, no, I'm nobody. Then he throws a batarang at him, and Barry catches it and says, "You're Batman," and I'm in all this. He tells her what it is in. So it's all this. So
that all happens, and then we also get quite a bit of the Cyborg story, don't we? About how this came about, how that I've forgotten the character's name. Cyborg, and no, it's Ray Fisher. But I've forgotten his actual name. Is it Victor?
Stone. Victor Stone.
Yeah. So he's working at Star Labs, which is often a thing with Flash, isn't it? Star Labs. Oh, am I dreaming?
Star Labs kind of gets involved in every sort of bit.
Yeah, so basically we see Steppenwolf get the box from the Amazonians and then send out a warning. Then we see, in a fairly perfunctory way, him get it from the Atlanteans, actually. I thought that was going to be a bigger set piece, but it wasn't.
No, that was pretty much the same as it was in the Whedon cut. Like, he just sort of shows up and starts killing Atlanteans. We do see how he knew where it was. Like, because it wasn't awakened. We saw his like, really quite like terrible interrogation of these Atlantean soldiers that he'd just stolen. He'd kidnapped he'd had parademons dragged them to the surface so they were weaker, and then he like put this weird like crab robot on their faces and it projected it. So.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. So he basically didn't need them to talk. He could use a weird robot to tell them what's going on. In the meantime, they've got the last box, and then they suddenly work out that this box can revivify things. It's almost like the Genesis device in Star Trek or something. And they thought, there's a dead Superman here, and there's the Kryptonian ship. We could use its thing, and stuff like that. And we get a bit of almost like the Lazarus Pit kind of thing, almost. From Batman, but do they call it a Genesis chamber or something like that? So they go dig up.
If I remember the other films right, it's basically the big pot they keep all the Kryptonian clone babies in. So
yes, weird. Barry doesn't he have to do some sort of fast running to create?
Yeah, he's got to get near the speed of light to build up the power, and then he's got to basically jump over the pot, touch the mother box to activate it, and let it fall in. So
yes, which basically revivifies Superman, but who's lost his memory. They try and talk him down, but doesn't like cops start shooting or something?
No, Cyborg's self-defense thing.
That's it. Yeah, he can't stop it, can he? And then Superman feels like attack, so he starts kicking ass because it's Superman, right? It's Superman, even though he doesn't know what he's doing. He's kind of super powerful, and he's throwing stuff around and all sorts. And in the end,
my favorite bit was where Wonder Woman basically started grappling with him, and he headbutts her, and then she headbutts him straight back, like at the same point. So he just floats back up a little higher, and then headbutts her, and like plants her in the ground.
Yes. I mean, she's almost as powerful as Superman, so it's kind of somewhat. She's certainly much less subject to damage than anyone else, so she can kind of take it without too much trouble. So they what happens then? So he kind of gets a homing instinct and goes back home, doesn't he, to see Mom?
Well, Lois Lane shows up.
Oh, that's right, and she sort of guides him. He kind of remembers her. We also get a weird scene where Lois is comforted by, it looks like Martha Kent, but we actually find out it's Martian Manhunter. That never really resolves, does it? It's just Martian Manhunter.
No, he shows up at the end, and then he shows up at the end and basically introduces himself to Batman. That's about it.
Yeah, Batman says cool or something, doesn't he? And that's where. So there is like, it's almost like a setup for a next film in this film. No, but we know there isn't the next film. So
I kind of would wish they just like carry on as if this was what happened.
Me too. I agree. I found all this setup way more interesting than when Marvel did it in, say, Iron Man 2, which I thought was just a side row. You know, some films do it well and some don't. They do setups for future films. Marvel didn't do it well in the early days, and I'll tell you what didn't do it well: the Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield. They clunked in this setup that was really distracting. And if you do it well, like they did here, you don't mind other stuff that doesn't go anywhere because it's so immersive, and feels, and it's enjoyable, and you're kind of invested, right? So it doesn't matter so much. But they did it really well here, has to be said. So then Steppenwolf attack. He finds the last box, doesn't he?
Yeah, because they've activated it. He can track it down.
Yeah, because they activated it to raise Superman. That's why it's activated.
Yeah.
Hoping Superman would then join them in the fight. But obviously he's got amnesia, so it didn't work out. So Victor's dad takes the box and puts it in a special little room full of lasers, which kills him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense at the time, but it superheats the box, right? Which means they can track it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So they get there, but he's kind of putting the boxes together, but then Superman turns up.
Yeah, they basically figure out a way that Cyborg can he can separate the boxes, but he needs powering up by the Flash, who starts running laps around this weird. I think it's supposed to be Chernobyl. There's a bit where they pan over some it looks like Chernobyl, so let's just run with Chernobyl. So Flash is just running laps around it to build up speed enough that he can grab Victor and shock him, so that he's powered up enough that he can separate the unity, I think they call it, on the inside.
Now this was fantastic. I found this all fantastic, actually. I really liked the fight scenes. I liked how wasn't there one point where Aquaman was surfing a dude or something?
Yeah, he speared a dude and then rode the corpse down to the ground.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman was kicking ass, and Batman had these unbelievable
kept unfurling new vehicles to do
vehicles it. And just damaging, creating a massive.
He started with this flying battleship thing, not quite. No, it was more like a VTOL sort of deal. Yeah. But he started off with that, and then the Batmobile burst out of it. And he just kept riding around. Then he just jumps up on one of the parademon turrets and started shooting people down with that.
Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. It's really fun. So there's a massive battle, but Superman's on this side. Now Barry basically doesn't he reverse time, or am I dreaming?
Yeah, basically they failed because Barry gets shot midway through his run and it knocks the wind out of him, and so the explosion happens, life gets wiped out, but Barry can reverse time, slightly hinted by when he was running near the speed of light. Yeah. So as he's running, the world's reforming around him, and which
is a kind of nod to Superman, the Christopher Reeve Superman, because that's what he did.
But this is not an infrequent thing with the Flash, where he goes back in time to
there's all sorts of all sorts of dimensional madness with Flash.
Yeah, there's the Flashpoint and all this, that, and the other. But yeah, so we get this quite brutal reforming of people as they they get put back together. They go back as a skeleton, and then all the flesh comes in, and but he grabs Cyborg, and that powers him up enough to enter the Unity and break them apart.
Which Superman assists with, I believe.
Yeah, Superman helps with, and then they completely destroy Steppenwolf in a fight.
They basically chop off one of his arms.
They chop off one of his arms, stab him through the back. Aquaman stabs him and lifts him in the air and then chucks him. Yeah. And then Wonder Woman cuts his head off, and his head flies through a portal that opens to Apocalypse, where Darkseid crushes the head.
And they kind of look at Darkseid, and Darkseid looks at them,
and the portal closes,
and Desaad's standing there around.
Desaad goes, I told you so.
Yeah. Now, then we see. I have to say, one of the things I highlights of this is I do like all the Batman stuff, but I particularly like the Alfred stuff.
Yeah.
We get a bit more Alfred, which is great. Played by Jeremy Irons. And we see after all this that Bruce and Alfred go look at this big mansion. I think, is Diana with them?
Yeah, it's Wayne Manor.
Yeah, they're saying we're going to do it up, and Batman specifically says we want a big round table we could all sit around, and Wonder Woman corrects him. She says, with room for more to join. And he says, yep. of room
So
to
he
watch.
gets like 6 seats, and he goes room for more. Yeah.
Yeah. I should have mentioned we also get another little cameo in this from a previous Snyder film. We see Barry Allen go visit his father, which I recognise that guy, and when I looked up, is the guy that played Dr. Manhattan.
Okay.
So that was kind of cool. He goes. He's got a job, hasn't he, in the police department somewhere. I think he gets a job. I can't remember exactly. And Arthur kind of goes his own way, but they're intended to all come back. And then Superman's back as he was. We also see a few extra things. We see Lex Luthor sitting in Arkham Asylum.
That was in the original. He'd escaped and he started to hire Deathstroke. And that was going to be the plot of the Batman film, where Deathstroke is hunting Batman, and he's because it's not happening. So
basically, Luthor says to him, "Batman is Bruce Wayne," right? So that real happens, and then we get an extended vision of the future or an alternative to or something, where basically Batman, Cyborg, I think Mira
and Flash. Oh, and Deathstroke are there.
Deathstroke all there, and the Joker.
Yeah, the Joker shows up.
And they're just discussing, and the Joker has a very weird conversation with Batman, kind of almost surreal, isn't it? In fact, I can't even remember the content, but he's basically saying you have to go further than you are prepared to on this.
I like the bit where he's like, "I'm gonna kill you," and Joker's like, "Yeah, sure, you do that," and then Batman basically sits down next to him. It's like, I'm going to sit there and watch you die a slow, horrible death because Harley Quinn asked me to. And Joker just shuts up. It's like, okay, he's going to do that.
He doesn't name her first. In fact, does he name her at all? He says she.
Yeah, he names her.
Was what you did to her. And I thought they were talking about Barbara Gordon, but it was actually Harley Quinn, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there's this kind of fairly intense, brightly lit and sort of surreal almost. And we get like a dark, evil Superman who was either gone insane or who knows.
Well, I assume because there's a bit where Cyborg gets his own version of the Nightmare, as it's called. Yeah, that's what it's referred to in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, Nightmare with a K. Nightmare.
Yeah, with a K. So, but you see Superman holding like a dissolving person, or like there's a skeleton with ash.
Yeah.
And Darkseid's walking up behind him, so I assume Lois Lane died.
Yeah.
And in his grief.
Early in the film, Batman actually has a dream, and he says Lois is the key, but not in the way we think. You know, so the key, if she dies, but Superman goes insane, or whatever. So Batman's kind of got this, he feels there's something up there, but he can't quite put his finger on it, and this kind of reveals what it is. And then it cuts away, and we see Bruce Wayne relaxing in like a fancy building by a lake, and Martian Manhunter rocks up, right?
Yeah, he just shows up.
Yeah.
He's like, there's a lot of things going on. I'm the Martian Manhunter, and flies away.
Yeah, thanks for assembling the team it's needed, and I'll be ready and all this kind of stuff. And then it ends. So 4 hours. Really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was really good.
Really, really enjoyed this. We get a few people here and there. We've seen before. And well, like I say, a lot of the footage from this was used in the film, but they cut it into a lighter form, much lighter. I mean, Cyborg was almost no one in that version, and he's much better represented, and it works way better because of that. And just it looks beautiful. Some of the
it's
shots,
a pretty looking film.
Yeah, I think. I feel like sometimes when Snyder directs things, he's kind of thinking about a comic book panel. He did this a lot in The Watchmen, right? In the Watchmen movie, he's thinking of a comic book panel. So when he slows down and he's going slow-mo, it's almost like, when you open a comic and you suddenly get a one-page frame rather than, 9 or 16, showing some devastating scene. And he's doing the filmic equivalent of that, really. So... lovely film. I really, really enjoyed this. This is Wonder Woman was my favourite for the longest time, but I think this is by far the best of this DC universe, actually. Now, I don't dislike any of them, really, apart from maybe Man of Steel, because Superman is just completely wrong. I think the rest of them have got good stuff in. I even like the Suicide Squad film, actually, the first one. Yeah, I think it's fine. Apart from the dopey CGI villain at the end. I quite like the witch villain. I thought she was good. And I quite like Harley Quinn's sort of shtick, too. I thought that was fun. And I quite like the second Harley Quinn film, too. But this one, I think, is the best of them. What do you think? What's your...
I'd agree with you that this is the best. But
yeah,
I wouldn't say I like Suicide Squad at all.
Okay, no, fair enough. I'm talking about this one. We kind of agree this is the best one. So it was kind of cool that Snyder got to redo this, and I wasn't expecting much. I have to say, I was thinking, it's just going to be dark and dreary again, like they keep doing. But no, and like I say, I'm perplexed because this is such a good film, whereas the Man of Steel is just wrong, tonally, completely wrong. And Batman vs Superman has its good bits, and there's bits of it I really like. But again, it felt perfunctory and not great. So this feels way better. It's amazing that they managed to craft. He must have basically shot the whole film, and they didn't like it. I assume. Yeah. I assume that was it, because he kind of put it together. And the only new stuff is that Joker scene, really. So that was kind of interesting, right? So, any more to say about it?
Not really. Can't think of anything.
The only other thing of is I feel that the Steppenwolf was a bit shinier and scarier in this version, but I could be misremembering it.
Yeah, he was spiky. Yeah, he had like weird ridged armor in the original, but it was all like solid. In this, he's got like constantly moving, shimmering layers, sort of thing.
I actually also want to say I quite liked the Joker in this. Everyone craps on Jared Leto, but I actually quite like this turn. It was very, what's his name? I forgot his name. Heath Ledger in tone, but I thought it was okay. I didn't see anything wrong. It was kind of better than the gangster Joker we saw in Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
Though I thought that was kind of interesting, but just not right for the Joker. It was way too gangster rap.
He behaved like one of Joker's thugs instead of Joker himself.
Instead of Joker. The only bit I really liked in that is when the guy was like not phased at all by all these henchmen threatening him, but as soon as Joker turns up, he kind of starts sweating. That was kind of fun. But so props to Jared Leto for delivering on that. I thought that was kind of interesting. But otherwise, I thought it was a very satisfying film. So what would you give it out of 10?
I'd give this, I'd say an 8.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 8.5 too. I think I agree with you. I kind of the further away I get from it, the more I like it. Kind of thing, thinking back on it, and I think if I sat and watched it again, it might go up. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's going to go lower than 8 ever. But it might go up with rewatches,
Yeah.
And it kind of recontextualized the whole Snyder thing as well, so it might be worth watching them again. Those three, Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, just to get a feels. Be interesting to sort of compare and contrast, really. Okay, I think that's it for this one. So, bye from me.
Bye.